a lot of nice things to say about Juan and Leah and Matthias.
They're not here.
Yeah, they're not here, so I can focus all my attention on our friend Jim. Jim. So the emotion that I remember.
Can I have a beer? This will be a long.
Yeah, I'll pass you one.
No comments from the peanut gallery till we're done, Jim. So the emotion I remember first associating with Jim is of minor annoyance, which is the feeling I experienced that day a year and a half ago when I looked at my phone and I saw that, to my surprise and chagrin, I had been added to yet another WhatsApp group. Without me asking to be added or giving my permission, for a sport I'd never played before and had no interest in, by this presumptuous guy that I'd never even met in person. Just the thought of playing team sports brought back traumatic memories of my childhood, of always being picked last in gym class. I almost left the group right then and there, but something in the back of my mind made me hesitate. I lurked in the background the first few weeks, and then I needed to admit that the pictures and stories being shared in the group looked like a lot of fun. So finally I decided to give the group a try, and the rest is history.
Now he lurks in the back field.
2 days after I first met Jim during my first Friday playing Frisbee, Jim joined me in a 50-mile cycling adventure I was planning from Guate to Tecpan.
Oh, that was it.
And you told them.
Don't spoil the story.
Great one. Good job.
So, despite Jim's trying to propose a route out of the city that made no sense and would have ended in disaster, I need to admit he made a good traveling companion and was a pretty good cyclist for an old guy. That is, until we got to the Libramiento in Chimaltenango. Jim wanted to take a picture with the Gallo sign to send to his old Peace Corps buddies, but forgot to unclip his shoe and took a slow-motion fall, initiating a certain relationship between Jim and falling down, which has been quite impressive. I'll never be able to see that Gallo sign again without thinking of Jim. Joaquin, any comments you had about Jim and falling down?
Joaquin, please.
Okay, remember Jim's
We had
nickname?
to pick him up.
Yes,
because
but what
he
else?
didn't keep on going.
We went mountain biking with Jim and Joaquin, and Jim fell down again.
Yeah.
So,
But Daddy also fell down a bunch of times.
So,
we're going to talk about Daddy.
times get upset.
So in addition to Jim the cyclist, we need to talk about Jim the ultimate Frisbee player. As everyone who's played Frisbee with Jim knows, he's a player you always want to have on your team.
Too close.
No, not because of his impressive skills throwing or catching a Frisbee,
Oh, like that.
but because of the certainty that the rules will be selectively applied to favor whichever team Jim happens to be on any given day.
Expert in democracy and government.
As Jim will tell you, as Jim will tell you, ultimate Frisbee is all about good sportsmanship and self-enforcement of the rules. Players are expected to make honest calls for the plays that they're involved with. Unless, of course, Jim decides he wants to make the call on his own, in which case that's the final verdict. Speaking of enforcement, who's going to replace Jim as the enforcer of our territory when the Guatemalan school kids or Joaquin tries to encroach on our Frisbee space? Who remembers the time Jim scared the crap out of that group of Guatemalan kids by blasting their soccer ball in the opposite direction as hard as he could and screaming at the top of his lungs to get off my lawn! All that was missing was a TV remote to shake his fist with and Fox News blaring in the background. That is true.
I didn't say get off my
And yet,
We'll remember, Jim.
when I think about Jim no longer being part of our group, I know it will create a void that won't be easily replaced. Who else will call me out when I take an extra step or four after making an amazing catch while sprinting at full speed? At least when I'm on the opposing team, that is. Who else will make me cry a little bit on the inside and question my life choices by singling me out as a greedy contractor with extravagant night rates that's only in it for the money? Of course, Jim and I have always roasted each other because we both know and respect each other enough to understand in on the same running inside joke. I may not tell him enough, but Jim knows that I respect him immensely and that I'm immensely grateful for the community he's built here in Guatemala and so graciously invited me in and my family into, and for the friendships that I formed with all of you. Frisbee has become such an integral part of my life over the last year and a half, and it's all thanks to Jim. He also knows how jealous I am of all the triathlons he's completed in and finished on the podium of. Another example of his I hope to follow someday. My kids and wife have come to know and appreciate Jim's friendship and will greatly miss him as well. In my book, Jim is the very epitome of a life well lived, a true global citizen dedicated to serving others in so many countries around the world, shaping policies to make the countries he works in more democratic, and also donating his own money and support to grassroots causes. It's obvious that he has experience constructing communities wherever in the world he finds himself, and his proactive leadership in humanity is a model for us all to follow. And last but not least, for such an accomplished and important guy, he doesn't take himself too seriously and is always willing to be self-deprecating. We love you, Jim. Last but not least, I just want to know, where can I submit my invoice to? Where can I submit my invoice for the rest of this?
Very nice, fabulous.